Well, I think we've seen a lot of that issue come up in shelters, and there's been a lot of work in shelters to try to resolve that. So, you end up in a shelter, and then, say you wear the veil, and the people are like, well, you're free now, you don't have to wear that. And you're just like, one thing, it's almost, you're almost sometimes saying to that woman, well, because she did this, now she's betrayed everything. She's betrayed her faith, she's betrayed her culture, she's gone to this side. And I think that's a problem too. Sometimes we frame it as like, choose the Western side. Well, maybe, let's face it, women can be accepting violence, but they might not be so happy about being in Canada, right? Or they might not be so happy about not want to always embrace this culture entirely. So we have to create a space where it's not an issue of choosing, because unfortunately, oftentimes the families perpetuating the violence are framing it as like, you become too Western, you become too Canadian. And then if on the flip side, we're doing the same thing, it's like, this is the Canadian, you're in Canada now, you're free. It's like, well, again, anyone who works in the field of prevention of violence in Canada knows that there's a lot of problems here too. So we have to be careful we're not framing it that way. It's you can resist forced marriage, and it's actually in line with your religious values and beliefs, because it shouldn't be forced marriage. Most religious communities, it's not even recognized as a marriage if the woman's not chosen it, right? You can be in line with your culture by simply, feeling that you're going to have a stronger family if you are able to be true to yourself or true to your values. So don't make it about somehow you've now gone the Canadian way or the Western way because you've done this. Some women might, can fully embrace that. They're just like, yeah, forget it, I don't want to do that. And again, you have to honor that as well, because some women are like, yeah, forget it, I'm done. But if a woman's that's not her orientation, don't make her feel like that's the choice she's made, because that sometimes adds to all of that other anxiety. And again, also, that's often how it's being framed by the other side, is that it's a betrayal, not only of your family, but of everything you believe in. So it's important not to play into that. I think it's also important to recognize other dynamics going on. So the fact that a lot of agencies that serve women don't understand the dynamics around citizenship. Like, what if you're not a citizen? What if you need to claim refugee status and your agencies have no idea what that's like? All those different things, it's important that they understand. It's important they understand racism, right? Like yes, yay, you're in Canada, but you're experiencing racism that maybe you wouldn't have experienced, or maybe even that your family protected you from, right? Because you might have been in this big family where everyone you knew was from your community and everything was fine, and now you're in this space where it's mostly people from a different religion, a different community, and you're experiencing racism or Islamophobia or xenophobia. So service agencies need to also understand that and how women are experiencing that and supporting them for that. So I think we have to understand that women can be victims of violence in their families, but they can also be victims of the violence of racism and Islamophobia and xenophobia. And that's just as hurtful and debilitating, and can also sometimes push people back to this other relatively safer space in terms of at least that. So we have to be really vigilant as service providers that we are not perpetuating that.